Okay, this is a video response to my brother in the Lord, Shawn, Venomfangx channel, about being gay and gay not being a choice. I respectfully disagree, and I feel kind of responsible to make this video and definitely put this perspective out there for those having confusion on this topic. I mean, we definitely know that Shawn is known to have some great insights and wisdom concerning many topics in the world, and I'm sure many will embrace his point of view on this, which is it's good that he has addressed it with wisdom and he's addressed it with love, and many of the things he stated are very much true, but the root of the issue I have to disagree with, and this is why. Well, basically, when you say being gay is not a choice, it's just like saying being straight is not a choice. And the fact is that straight people at any given time can choose to do something gay. A straight dude can choose to do gay pornography, and by the interpretations of the masses, a straight guy that does gay pornography is gay, because the whole point of the matter is gay is not a genetic. Rather, homosexuality is a type of sexuality. It's a practice. It is an action. It is a lifestyle. Therefore, those who decide that they're going to partake in homosexual activity are, they practice homosexuality. Calling somebody gay is fundamentally wrong, and it's not an accurate term. It's not a biblical term, and it's not a term that lives up to the intelligent, distinctive things about sexuality in the first place. Pedophilia is an activity. It's not it's not a gender. A pedophile is not a guy who has a horn coming out of his forehead. He's just a guy who's practicing this perversion of sexuality, and the same thing goes for the homosexual. He goes against nature, what is observable in nature. He goes against pro-life things, and he goes into more extracurricular or things, things that it's not prime to life. It's kind of it's extra, and they don't feel like there's anything wrong with it. But of course, we who believe in God definitely know that it is an abomination against God to partake in it. It's a great disrespect. It's equally as sinful as any sin, in the fact that it can lead you to hell just as much as any other sin. But God takes the time to call it an abomination, because whereas sin is sin, and all sin leads you to condemning sin leads you to hell, we still know that the abomination is the sin that even provokes God more so than it has provoked anything else. For instance, that is to say, there's a sin where you can sin against your fellow man and be condemned for that, but then there's a sin and can sin against God and be condemned for that. But then there's a sin where if you have the knowledge of God and you still sin against God, you do something blatant against God, or you just do something blatant against what God considers holy. You can sin against sinners and wicked people, and you can sin against people who are holy. I mean, there's definitely levels to sin, just as much as there's levels to good things and good deeds. And whereas they might all equate to the same thing, whereas God might pay equally rewards to those who've done great and those who've done less than great but still have done work. He might pay his laborers the same amount, but they still did different levels of work, and sin has different levels of blaspheming and abomination, and definitely those words are used to take the time out to show the how much God opposes these things. So when it comes down to it, of course, God does not hate people who just suffer from these sins and things like that. God has love for man, but God does not see man as gay. God does not see man as the liar. Man is rather all the potential God has placed within him. Man is as God saw Adam, and Adam chose to sin. Adam chose to go against the grain. Yes, that's the sin nature is within us, and we're prone to do just as he has done. But let's reiterate that it's a choice. You choose to do that. If we'll use a better term, a more accurate term of just calling it heterosexuality, homosexuality, we'll know that the guy who will not go further and he will stick to heterosexuality, know that that was his decision. If he has the option if a guy has the option of eating vanilla, chocolate, or butter pecan, if he has all three options and he only chooses vanilla because that's the one he likes, it's still a choice. And you could say, well, fundamentally, anybody who likes vanilla is a vanilla-er. I mean, that whole term is, it sounds silly when I say that, but it's just as silly to use the term gay as people use it, like, these are aliens. And then people feel mad. They feel bad when people who practice homosexuality or homosexuals, when they are alienated, they feel bad. They feel like they're being wronged. But the whole point is, you are going to be alienated when you make yourself to be as though you're another species. And people look at you like you're weird, and they do these harmful and say these horrible things against these people. Many of them are sincere, kind, loving people, and very, very talented people. But people are wronging them because one minute they're aliens, the next minute they're just like everybody else. See, the point is, there's a lot of weird people in this world, no matter what preference they have. But one thing's for sure, you cannot tell me, well, I was born a rock and roll fan. Rock and roll, I have to listen to rock and roll. It's not a necessity. It's not a prime thing that you can really say, I was born a rock star. No, you weren't. You were influenced by it. You made decisions by it. It was how you processed the information. And when some people process the information of, what a man's figure is, a man might look at another guy and say, he has some strong shoulders. But that's just an interpretation of information. But when he decides that I like the way his shoulders look to the point of wanting to do something wicked, and then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to feed those thoughts, and I'm going to indulge in those thoughts, yada yada yada, well then of course he is a practitioner of homosexuality in his mind. And if it goes into his actions, then it is in his actions. Gay is just, it's a foolish term. You don't use that. I don't think that term is accurate, because there's a lot of straight guys who turn gay. That doesn't make sense. If you look at the word fundamentally and what people are implying with the word, it does not make sense. So does that mean the straight guy was gay the whole time? And what happens to a gay guy who becomes straight? Does that mean he was straight the whole time, but he just struggled with gay? And then the guy who turned gay, he was gay the guy who turned gay, he was gay the whole time that he thought he was straight? No. These are the bottom line is, these are choices, and men are responsible for these choices. If you decide that you're going to look at young children who we do not deem appropriate for you to engage with sexually in any sexual contact, and you're going to indulge in thoughts of these children, inappropriate thoughts, well, guess what? You have chosen to be a pedophile. And that is how a pedophile is born. They choose to indulge these thoughts. The thoughts will come. Thoughts of murder come. Thoughts of this, that, and the other come. But one thing is for sure, you are a practitioner of that thing when you engage in it by choice, by decision. Therefore, the correct way of addressing this is homosexuality is a choice. And each and every day, you get to choose whether you're going to partake in it or not. And when you do partake in it, there are consequences. So it is a choice. And God does have a solution for those who partake in it. Just as much as there are those who partake in heterosexuality, it is a choice. And it is a choice that you still must make responsibly. Because some people who are heterosexual, who practice heterosexuality, they do so in a way that is not acceptable. You know, they abuse people who they're not married to, people's future wives. They abuse them, misuse them, and they hurt people's lives. They hurt their feelings to the point to where these people want to kill themselves. They destroy these people. They mislead people. They mislead children into doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And it's just you know, it's all rebellion, it's all activity, it's all decision, and we're accountable for it. Therefore, you know, let's keep this straight. You know, and no pun intended, but let's keep this straight. Every single child that is born is born without a sexual preference, because children are not whereas they have gender, they are not sexual beings, and to let them participate or put them into sexual situations is a crime, punishable by law in the land and punishable by law in the court of God, according to the morality that God has shared within the Bible and the wisdom that he shares through his Spirit. So the bottom line is, a child is born not a sexual minded being. They are born with a gender, they are born with a nature, and you know, whether they indulge in things we deem feminine, whether they indulge in things we deem masculine, they still have a gender that makes them what they are, period. And if they choose to indulge in folly, that's what correction's for. Folly will come for a child. But when a child gets to the age in which they are accountable, when they become young adults, when they become adults, know that once those sexual choices become something they are free to partake in, free to have an accountable opinion about, if they do not choose, choose, if they do not choose to practice it responsibly, well, then they are in sin. And yes, it is a choice. So that's my response, and I look forward to answering many foolish comments. God bless.